Welcome to the podcast. I'm Max.
I'm Ben.
I'm Mae.
Hey, super secret celebrity special guest Mark Norman here.
And we were had. Can you believe it?
There are twists and there are turns.
Defleshed is a standard death.
Oh, that's fun.
We were had.
We were.
So today we have a special guest, Mark Norman.
Special needs.
Special needs guest. And he is here to talk about his own unsolved mystery, his nanny from growing up, Enos.
Yeah, black transvestite in the 90s housekeeper.
Is transvestite the word?
It used to be.
Okay, well, we're going to go back to the 90s for this episode.
Well, I mean, can you say transgender when they still use he, him pronoun?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think that's not trans. That's still the
He
gender.
called himself a transvestite, so I'm being true to him.
Yeah, and he also, even though he would come to your house in a dress and heels and makeup and all that stuff, he asked Mark's mom specifically to say he, him pronouns. So we're going to refer to him as he, him. So stop fucking yelling at us, okay?
We spend 45 minutes just preparing for that. I am sorry.
But do you want to get into like who he was? How did he find you guys? How
Sure.
old were you? Like describe the whole story and then.
All right. Kid in New Orleans. Parents bought a giant house that they was not fixed up, and they had to work a ton to afford it. And so they hired this guy Enos, who was a drag queen by night, drag queen by day, I guess. He would dress up as a lady sometimes. Kind of came and went. He went with the mood. And me and my brother, I was probably 5, 6 till 10. He was our housekeeper. He cleaned. He took care of us. He, cooked a little and put us to bed, or the whole thing. And I just learned today from a phone call with my mom that he was just hired from a classified ad, and he said, I like to wear women's clothing. I have no credentials, and I used to be in jail, and I'd like to watch your children. And she
was
said,
like-
you're hired.
She was like, great, take it to school.
What a resume.
So that was the CV. There was nothing like 5 years experience as an actor.
no.
I love kids.
No.
Had he ever
Nothing.
done any of this
Nothing.
before?
I don't think so.
But he could wear a dress. Man, oh man.
Yes. It was Mrs. Doubtfire if it was cast today.
It wasn't even an ad to be a nanny. It was just his dating ad. It was just like, this guy works.
Yeah.
Your mom was like, I like the cut of his jib. Let me tell you,
Pretty
this guy's he's got it.
Yeah, so she just put out like an ad in like the paper or like a bulletin board, and like this, transgender nanny shows up and knocks on the door and says, I'd like to watch your 2 young sons.
God bless.
Yeah.
Do you have clear memories of Enos?
Oh yeah. He was around all the time. Taught me how to like go on a date and put the seat up. And
How long was he the nanny?
About 5 years.
Wow.
He
Yeah.
also lived next door to them. So
Yeah.
Get out.
part of his salary was that because they lived in a bed and breakfast and they had like a little apartment that was like next to it, and part of his payment was that he got to stay there for free. So
What an
he
upbringing.
basically lived with them.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I also didn't know that. I just thought he was there all the time.
Assumed he
But,
just
you're 5.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, adults. They all live here.
teachers sleep at
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your mom also said on the phone call today that because your brother is like 2 or 3 years older, and so you had like no questions. You were like, great, this is the nanny, whatever, we're just moving forward. And then his brother had more questions, but the questions would be like Enos would come with like, stick-on nails or something from her drag show the night before, or his drag show the night before. And so his brother would ask questions like, how do his nails grow so fast? And like, why is his hair not attached to his head? And it's obviously a wig and things like
He's
that.
an
But-
idiot. Just a stupid kid. No. We didn't know what was going on. And everything's just normal when you're young. You
Right.
know? And so friends would come over and be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, that's Enos. It wasn't weird.
Yeah, and your mom also said on the phone call today, she was like, we were close, like they were close,
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
and Enos, and she was like, we'd have conversations in the kitchen about like femininity and what it meant to be feminine and all these crazy things. And apparently, Enos had tried to transition or had thought about transitioning, going through with the surgery, twice, and then didn't decide to go through with it, twice.
So it sounds like, before we get into what happened, that he was like a great
Great
nanny,
guy.
babysitter
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
And I think he dealt with a lot, obviously, growing up black and then 80s and 90s and being in a wig and high heels. You know, this is also a poor neighborhood, so it was pretty, like, we would leave the house and people would make fun of him instantly.
Oh,
you know?
no.
Oh, yeah. And so he was so sweet because he had been, ridiculed his whole life. So he would never do that to you, kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good kid. Or good guy.
Trans people of color famously, not a lot of good things coming their way throughout
Yeah.
history. Yeah,
Famously.
especially in the
Especially
90s.
back
A lot
then.
of violence.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
pre-drag race. Thank you, RuPaul. But yeah. So also shows how not giving any fucks my parents are.
Yeah.
You know, like I told my parents I was going to do comedy, and they said, "You're blocking the TV." They were not at all. They have zero care about anything. Like this guy, this ex-con, big black guy, knocks on the door with a wig on. They're like, you're in. You can put our kids to bed.
You can
Was-
put our kids
was-
to bed and live in our house, basically.
Yeah.
Was your next nanny like a dolphin or something?
No, I think that was it. We were older then. We
Okay.
were old enough by then. So there was no next nanny. He
okay.
killed it.
Yeah. Well, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what
All
happened?
right. Yeah. Let's get into it.
Oh, so good times. And then, he moved on, and my parents and him were still buddies or whatever. So we had this giant van, like a big gray van, like an A-team van. And he would borrow it every now and then. So he borrowed it one day.
He's
and
no longer your nanny at this point.
No.
Okay.
No. And borrowed it one day, never brought it back. A day goes by, 2 days go by. So my mom's like, what the hell's going on? I don't think he stole it, but this is weird. Pre-cell phone, obviously. And then the cops came by and said, hey, we found your van. Did this guy steal it? And they're like, no, that's Enos. And they're like, well, we found him dead.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
In the
Yeah.
van.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So the assumption is he was hooking up with a guy, and then the guy thought he was a woman.
Found out he was not a woman.
Yes, the dong comes out, and then this is in Homa, which is pretty rural.
How far from New Orleans? Like 2 hours?
Yeah, maybe an hour and a half, 2
Okay.
hours. Yeah, and he picked up a homosexual, and I think the guy killed him.
That's theory number one. Theory number two that your parents came at us with today was that there was a serial killer in the area of Homa during the same time, and he was targeting. It was like the same MO. He would target like young men at gay clubs and whatever, rape them and murder them. And there was a list of like 23 guys that he admitted to killing. So we think, based on the timeline, based on this, like that's
Was he using the van
Interesting.
for like prostitution though?
could be.
Was there any elements
Maybe.
of that?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And also, Mark's mom didn't even ask, because I was like, what did he go to jail for? And she was like, I don't know. He didn't tell me. I was like, and then
Wow.
she also said, which I thought was sort of interesting, she was like, I caught him in a lie about his age. And usually when people lie about their age, they lie that they're younger. But he lied that he was 15 years older than he was. And how she found this out was, like he wouldn't wear glasses because he was really vain, but he needed contacts, and he was trying to read something from his driver's license to get into some like transgender group or something, like some sort of like support system group or what, I don't even know what it was, but he like they needed his driver's license information, so like he was like, oh, can you help me? And then she took his driver's license and like noticed the date and was like on the phone with these people and was like telling the driver's license numbers of these people on the phone and was like looking at the date and was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He's like way younger than he said he was.
Yeah.
So then people will go, wow, you look great for 45.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
30. Or
What a
whatever.
weird quirk,
Yeah, but kind of smart. It works. You get a compliment.
I guess.
But that's how in need of a compliment he was.
Yeah. Oh, we're also skipping over the part that he had a big snake that was part of
Oh,
his.
yeah.
So he had a snake that was part of his routine, like Britney Spears with like around his neck or whatever.
His routine. Oh,
His
oh,
drag,
his drag
routine,
Yeah, got it.
routine,
Yeah, yeah.
And then it went missing one day, and they thought that there was like this fucking like 8-foot snake just going around your house.
Yeah, no one told me, by the way. I had no idea this was going on.
Would this also be the kind of thing where like kids are at your house and they see an 8-foot snake and you're like, what's in your house? Yeah,
I would remember that, but no, this was. I think they would hid it from me because, like, don't tell him; it'll be a thing. If he's
Yeah,
gonna go
of
looking for
course.
the
Don't
snake.
make the giant snake a thing.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, exactly.
It is so funny to think about how uptight parents are with like good reason. Bad shit happens all the time, but your parents just have this person show up. Oh, you went to jail. I don't care what you went for. It could be murder. You like.
Wasn't your house robbed too?
Many
Constantly.
times. Yeah. But just horrible neighborhood. We were the white family. I think everybody assumed we were loaded. And we were not, because it was so much money to fix this place up. It was so falling apart. So, yeah. Kooky time. So I got the crazy neighborhood. We're the white family. We got a transvestite nanny. Everything was topsy-turvy.
Tell them about your story of your bike getting stolen and Enos finding it.
So bike got stolen all the time. This time it got stolen from under me. You know, a couple of street toughs, pushed me around.
Oh.
And I ran home crying, as you do. And I remember I was at summer camp at the time, and I had face paint on, like a rainbow and a unicorn, which doesn't help. I'm a complete mark, no pun intended. I'm a complete sitting duck. Like, we can get that kid's bike.
Yeah.
He's got a rainbow on his cheek. So I ran.
That was the
crying.
original Pride painting.
Yeah, exactly. I was the parade, and they took my float. But no, so I ran home. We called the police, yada yada, because my mom was just furious. She's like, "That's like the 5th time we're calling the police." So,
That's the first time.
yeah, exactly.
She goes 4 times. I get it.
Yeah,
5.
kids.
Something's got to stop.
Exactly. So the cops come. They don't care. They've got bigger fish to fry. They did a fake thing where the guy pretended to write down my problems, and then he leaves. And then Enos comes in. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, the bike, the rainbow." And he's like, "Fuck that, we're going to get it." And I'm like, I'm too scared to face these kids. It was like 5 of them. They're older than me. And he's like, "Fuck that." So we get in the van, the famous van. We drive around the neighborhood for like a, half an hour. We see the kids on a stoop taking the bike apart because you got to make it look different. So they're changing the parts. And I was like, "That's the bike." I'm like hunched over. I don't want them to see me. And he's like, "All right, hang out. I'm going to go get it." And I was like, "Don't go. They're going to kill you." Blah, blah, blah. So he walks up to the stoop, and there's a bunch of kids, bikes are strewn everywhere, tools everywhere. And they immediately started going like, "Look at this faggot. Ah!" He's got heels on, going nuts. And he doesn't budge. And he goes, "That's not your bike." And he goes, "What are you going to do about it?" And he grabs it. Nobody does anything. Pulls the bike, puts it over his shoulder, walks back to the van, slides the door open, throws the bike in, closes the door, we drive off.
What a guy.
Yeah, he's like a superhero. And he's wearing a boa. I was like, I couldn't believe it.
That's cool.
Oh,
Was he a
that's
big
so
guy or was he not?
I mean, to me he was, but he was probably like 6 foot, he's probably 6'1". He wasn't that big, but to me he was this giant, manly
especially
guy.
after that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Put
That's
the bike
so
on the
cool.
shoulder. Yeah, really cool, really impressive. Because my dad wore a suit and he had a briefcase and he was like, "We're gonna sue him" or whatever. You know? So it's fun to see like some these real action taken.
Yeah.
So that
That's
was fun.
cool.
Huh.
By a guy in heels and a wig.
Yeah.
So my whole perception of masculinity is all warped because of that shit.
So in a way, you're the most progressive person I've ever met.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do a drag show every night. I haven't told anybody. I want you to call me she.
Imagine if I just find that out about you on this podcast. I'm like, that's where you are. I thought you were doing
Let me tell you something. A lot of people that grew up like this would make it their entire personality.
Oh, completely.
Well,
Completely.
I should tell you that I am Enos.
Have you ever discussed any of that in your act? Not at all, right?
The bike stealing, I did a whole thing about in my first album, but I feel like it's so much backstory, so much to discuss and talk about and like catch you up on that I never did it.
And like your style of comedy is just like, you
Yeah,
know, one
yeah.
joke after another. So you're not really like a storytelling kind of guy, but it could be something maybe.
I mean,
like
it's also
in the future,
raw.
you
This
know?
guy was basically part of your family.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
died in a
Suppose
horrific
the
way.
police didn't
you know?
do dick, huh?
No, they didn't care. Not about a bike.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the murder. No, I've shifted to the murder.
No, they cared more about the bike.
Yeah, the murder was not. I didn't
White
see a
kid's
news
bike is
story.
over black transgender
Yeah,
murder.
see, that's the thing. Like, I searched because we know that Enos was his real name because of the license. But she forgot what his last name was. And I was doing a lot of Googling, like, in the area that they got killed, and I couldn't come up with anything, like, nothing at all. I mean, it was the 90s, so it would have been, like, newspapers don't have to be digitized. Like, so it's not quite the same as, like, something that would be in the internet era. But still, I was like, I can't find anything about this. It's weird.
Yeah. Maybe we should go old school, like in the 80s movies where we go to the
library. Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah.
go through the thing.
Clippings.
Season 2 is just us solving this murder.
Yeah. He's got family out there, I'm sure.
I know, but that was the other thing your mom said. She said, because I was like, what happened to the van? What happened to his body? She said they eventually got the van back. And she was like, I don't know what happened or if anybody claimed his body. We asked the police about it, but they didn't seem to know. They said it was for next of kin, but she was like, when I would ask him about his family, I got the impression that he was estranged.
Yeah.
Which would, make sense, obviously, because of the times. So I don't know. Like, we don't know where his like burial ground is or anything. Like,
No. Might be in a morgue.
oh my God.
Well, no, I guess he wouldn't be in a morgue.
No,
30
no.
years
How long
later.
do you last in a morgue?
I don't know. I mean, it's cold in there, isn't it?
How cold is it, Jesus?
Mausoleum? I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
they do with dead bodies that no one, like old prostitutes?
You mean like if it's a Jane Doe?
Yeah.
They just put it in like a pretty like bare bones situation, and then it just has a tombstone that says Jane Doe. It's really sad.
But they knew his name.
well,
would
yeah,
assume
I
the
mean, it would
police
say.
knew.
Yeah, they knew what his name was, but they couldn't find anybody to claim the body. So I don't
Oh
know.
my
I don't really
gosh.
know.
But
know.
where do they put these Jane Does? In a cemetery?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So there's a whole cemetery dedicated to this, or do they just like spread them
Just
out
the
amongst
local
normals?
ones.
Yeah,
Just
I
sprinkle
don't
in some
know.
does.
I don't know, but I do know like from watching true crime stuff that I've seen like Jane Doe on like.
Really?
Yeah. So I think like maybe it's just in regular ass cemeteries.
Interesting.
What are those ones where it's like, I mean, is it a mausoleum? But like it's where it's like, they're basically drawers. Like a bunch of
Yeah,
people.
That's in New
just-
Orleans.
that's
They're
like
the
they had
above
to-
ground things.
That
Yeah.
makes more sense. Like that makes sense
Yeah.
for like people that are just like
You're
thrown in there.
stuffing
It's a
like
file
80 of them in
cabinet
there.
Yeah.
of bodies. Yeah.
But above ground is interesting.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the flooding.
Yeah. Oh, otherwise the bodies.
Yeah, the bodies float up.
I hate to see that.
Yeah, that's a bad day.
Flooding in New Orleans. That's a thing.
Floating bodies, yeah. Yeah. So they got to build the graves up top. There
All right.
you
So
go.
what do we? I mean, did your parents ever try to follow up?
No,
with it at the time?
I think they're like, we hired him, we did our part.
Your parents like don't give a shit about anything.
No.
But they also come across as
I mean,
heroes
they're-
in this
they're-
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like most people kind of look at Cosby. He's the
Yeah.
nicest guy, family man. Clean
Are you
up,
about to liken
and
your
then-
parents to Cosby?
Yes. Well, I'm just saying that's how human beings are. I think they swing both extremes.
Yeah.
So my parents are like, we'll hire this nobody that has a criminal record who's wearing a dress, but they're also like, now you're on your own. We're
Yeah,
not gonna uproot our lives with this guy, but they'll also hire you.
Yeah.
Does that make
I
sense?
would just be curious. Like I would be like, I want to know what happened to him.
Yeah. We were in high school, they
busy, yeah.
Yeah, they had to get a class ring and uniforms. Things were happening. We had to get
Yeah.
a new van.
You got to get a new van.
So that's a lot of.
Yeah,
lot of
I wouldn't be
stuff
able to drive
do.
that van after.
No, you can't drive
We
that
drove
van.
it.
They drove that van?
Oh yeah.
Did you go in that van?
Oh yeah.
There were no like stains.
Not that I remember. I guess he did it outside the van then.
Oh,
Oh.
that tells
Okay,
us something.
that's a
That
key.
helps. That
tells us
element.
something.
Yeah.
Okay, that
And
makes
they
it
just-
actually less helpful. 'Cause
Yeah.
that means he could have been killed anywhere.
Fair.
Yeah.
But then they just threw the body in the van, and we have no idea what he was doing with the van.
No,
He-
he
no,
was
he
at
was going to a
show
gig. He was
going to
or a
gigs,
gig
okay.
Or a hookup in Homa.
Yeah.
That's why I said homosexual earlier. I don't know if anyone caught that.
I did not pick
All
that
right,
up.
all right. I got 0. I was like, I don't know if they got my homosexual joke.
I'm not very familiar with Homa, Louisiana,
Yeah.
so I didn't really.
Yeah, what kind of town is
I
it?
just thought you meant
Shitty.
homosexual.
Rural.
No, Homa. It was
Like
a place.
rednecks.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty rural, pretty small towny.
Big gay panic vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. BGPV.
So that would be so weird. I mean, I wonder if like he sort of got catfished out there in a certain way because
Probably.
would they have a drag show in a town like that in the 90s in Louisiana?
Yeah, maybe
What-
he was hooking.
Maybe.
That
yeah.
feels, yeah. I mean, like, well, unless you're going on tour, a drag tour, but I don't know.
I can't imagine Homa having a drag show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the market's
Now.
That's what he
small.
told your parents he
Yeah.
was going to, and they were like, "Yeah, like take the fucking van." But
Yeah, good for Homa.
good
yeah,
for Homa.
Yeah, good for
Yeah,
Homa.
so naive.
But it makes sense because he probably has to get out of town to hook
Yeah.
and come back in town to take care of the kids.
Well, he wasn't taking care of you at that moment, right? So
Oh,
he was
that's
just,
true,
So
that's
he was
true.
just hooking, I guess.
Yeah, probably. Got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I remember pre-internet was it was a wild west. You could do all kinds of stuff, and no one knew.
This serial
True.
killer that was around was it a Homa based or just like in the
Homa-based, yeah.
oh
Yep.
and targeted
And targeted gay men.
homosexuals.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that guy's looking pretty good to me. But he admitted to killing so many people. I don't know
He
why.
didn't mention.
It didn't mention Enos. So I don't know like why he would admit to killing that many people and leave one out unless he forgot, because I mean if you kill that many people it's like, well,
Yeah, who can keep track at that
yeah,
point?
exactly.
So just to go back for a sec, sorry if we already covered this, but would he be working at night while he was babysitting you during the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes he'd be there at night, like tucking us in or whatnot.
Oh, I thought you said
If he
you were
didn't-
bringing you to that.
Oh, no, I wish. I would love to see the show. No, I wish.
Yeah.
It was like blocks away, too. I lived so close to the French Quarter.
That's so funny.
That's wild.
Wonder if your
Maybe.
parents ever went.
Yeah, I wonder.
Probably.
Maybe.
That's our nanny.
Yeah.
Just cheering.
If you ever had a bringer. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, who knows who did it? Maybe it was those kids with the bike that got revenge.
Yeah.
They got revenge.
Mm-hmm. All those years later.
Yeah, they just followed the homo. They pedaled for 3 days.
You have that one photo. Remember we saw that photo? Of
Yeah,
Enos?
yeah. Real Jerry curl going, and he was like,
Really?
Yeah, yeah. He looked like a happy person.
He was happy. He was a fun guy, nice guy.
Mm.
Real shame. And then
Yeah.
no one knows. That's the problem with the non-digital age.
Mm.
Yeah.
As if they could solve every crime now.
True.
Right,
Yeah.
true. It's so crazy that you knew somebody like intimately
Yeah,
that was horrifically murdered. That's insane.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
You didn't see the body though, right?
No, no.
Oh,
no,
okay,
no.
good.
I didn't hear about it till one day I was at dinner with my parents. I was like, "Whatever happened to Enos?" And they're like,
That's-
"Oh, he died in Homa."
So they didn't tell you at the time.
No, I
No.
guess
They were just
it
letting
was-
you just
Because he was only
bare
like
bones in
11
that
or something.
Right.
If you think about 11
Well,
year
no,
old
he was in high school. It was years after he
I
stopped
was in high
nanny.
school when I found out.
When you
died.
found
Oh,
out.
yeah. It's like think about looking at an 11-year-old kid who's like, "Mom, you want to play like birds and stone or whatever?"
Oh,
the fuck?"
I always used to play Birds and Stone. You
Birds
too?
fucking serial killer.
Come up with a blank.
Mom, let's
Birds
play
and the
Birds.
Bee? Wait, what is Birds and Stones?
Serial
Nothing.
killer thing. You
Oh,
want to
I've
go
never heard
shoot
that.
some squirrel?
You want to go mutilate some cattle?
Birds and Stone. That sounds like a cult. They belong to Birds and Stone.
Like a jewelry brand,
Mm-hmm.
Birds and Stone. Anyway, but yeah, you can't like tell that to an 11-year-old. Obviously.
Right. I didn't
Yeah.
even know about the snake.
Yeah.
So the murder was not coming up.
What if the snake was poisonous, bit him,
Ooh,
slithered away?
Ooh, interesting.
Something to think about.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any details about, like, it wasn't like throat slashed.
We don't know anything
like
about
Nothing,
that, yeah.
Nothing.
Because obviously the cops aren't going to tell his parents all the details because.
If they get there, like, you're not gonna believe what happened.
Yeah.
They're just really nailing it down.
Yeah.
That's wild. Well, the cops thought it was stolen,
Yeah.
Right.
so like they didn't think to.
They thought he stole it and then was killed. I think.
Ugh.
Yeah. Tough times.
Yep.
This is the problem with Unsolved.
I really
there's no
thought
way
we
to
were-
know.
I really thought we were gonna
I thought we were
solve
gonna
it.
get to it. Yeah.
If you know anything, call in.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great.
1-800 Birds and Stones.
260s bands.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's right. Good point.
Okay. Are you
Bird
proud of-
spelled
Yeah.
Y.
All
All right.
right, all right. Should
That's
we-
what Mae used to play.
She used to play. She was talking about the record. Yeah.
Your mom would play the Birds, and you would play the Stones.
Classic debate.
You guys want to get dinner? Or what do you think?
Let's
I'm
do it.
fucking starving.
All
Let me
right.
tell you
Thanks
that.
so much for being on, Mark.
right.
Oh,
Wow.
4 of us were had this
We
time.
got
Do you got-
nowhere.
Anything else to say before you say we were had?
No, R.I.P. Enos. Thanks for everything. Appreciate it. You were, what do you call it? A trailblazer. And, yeah.
And we continue to be had
Yet again.
yet again.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks, Mom. Big shout out to Mom for the info.
Yeah,
Oh,
tell you
yeah,
what, the
big
Normans
shout
were
out.
very helpful with their information.
They
Yes,
were,
thank you.
yeah. It
Not
was
the
exciting.
police.
No.
Well, what else is new?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a theme on We Were Had.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes it just clean the crime scene.
Yeah, they literally cleaned a crime scene the day after. Yeah.
Yeah, the burger
top to
chef.
bottom.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
wow.
All right, guys, we were had. See you next
Bye-bye.
time.
All right.